Hello everyone. Good morning. Today is Tuesday and I wanted to do another installment of my journal making here, my ring bound journal. So what I have done now is I made a pocket to hold both a flat pen. So this flat pen just slides off that little holder there and slides oh so easily back on. There we go. Nope. Oh dear. There we no, why isn't that catching? That's just a paper clip in my paper clip. There we go. Okay. And then in that pocket is just a little cute little journal with some tea-dyed paper. When all of this began, I spent a day tea-dyeing paper, so I had a supply. And I have a little Tracy Fox label right there because there was a little blemish on the paper. So that slides right on in there. That was the first one I made, and true confessions, I sewed down here, decided not to do that anymore. And then when I put it in, I realized I had put it on upside down. So I have another little tab right there that I need to find something to do with. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one is this one, and I did this one a little bit different. So here's my flat pen, and then on this one, I rounded these edges, which I think makes it slide in a little bit more easily. And I put a little bit of Sari Silk on an eyelet in there. And again, just some very simple tea-dyed paper. And so that slides in nicely right like that. So this is really super easy. And I'm just going to show you how I did it. The key to this is just making sure you put your flat pen holder on before you sew it up. So here's the one that we've been working on. It has the magnetic closure ephemera folder. And here is the gusseted pocket we made. And then here is going to be the journal pocket. So I'm just going to take that out there. So I've cut, these are all my notes that I've made for this particular project. So this journal pocket I've cut, it is 8 3/4 inches wide and 7.5 inches tall so that it will slide in. So all I'm going to do with this is fold it in half. And I'm not using a scoreboard, although you could if you wanted to score down the center here to get a nice perfect, but well, I don't have a scoreboard. I sometimes use my Fiskars slide cutter as a scoreboard, but not necessary. Okay, so it's as simple as that. I think I will wind up sewing it, and then I slide this in here. But before I adhere it to there, oops, I need to put on my cute little flat pen holder. And so so in between journal projects, when I'm kind of casting it out, figuring what I want to do next, this is a great project to do to just get something done and to get those creative juices flowing again. And I ordered these pen guts here from Amazon, and they come in bulk. And they're great. So I have some flat pens to choose from. I love this paper. This is that, it's got little bees on it. Let's use that one. And it's about the right height. And I have a tutorial on how I make these. So let's use, I have some of this left over. We could use that little pattern there. Yeah, I like the little daisies. So I'm just going to cut this down to be about the right width. And then I'm going to fold it so that it's doubled in thickness. And then I'll just glue that together. Let's see. It's probably a little too wide. Which side do we want facing? I want to have at least one daisy showing, so I need a daisy kind of in the center. So I'm going to trim that down on that side, and I'm going to just trim that down a little bit there, and trim that down to hide my wonky folding. Remember, nothing or everything can be fixed when you're making these. There's no no disasters, or few disasters. Just about anything can be fixed. So it's important to not panic, is my bottom line. So I'm just going to glue this together to form one. This is art glitter glue in a little tiny squeeze bottle that I love. So it is a sunny day here today. I'm so excited. I actually had to pull the curtain down. Usually I come in here and I throw the shades open because it's so dark. But there was such bright light streaming in right here. My camera couldn't focus. So, yeah. So that's exciting. And we started at school. I teach high school. We started our official remote learning yesterday. It's too soon to tell how it's going. Kind of frustrating. My kids are teenagers and they're in high school. My daughter's a senior, my son's a sophomore, and they started their remote learning. So I think I'm going to put the two little, instead of putting them right at the end, I think I'm going to put my two little these thingies. What are these called? Paper fasteners. And I have these Dove ones, which I really like, but they're always in the way. And then I have two sizes. I have teeny tiny itty bitty and just very, very small. So I think I'm going to grab two of the teeny tiny itty bitty ones, because this is not going to require a lot of strength, and it's just to hold a piece of paper on there for the paper clip to grab. Those two are stuck. All right, grab this one. Okay. And we'll just go back in there. I love these little jars. I got these at the impulse section at Michael's. Very cute. Love those. All right, so where's my awl? So I'm just going to poke. I don't know what that was. I'm just going to poke a little hole there, and a little hole there, just in from the daisies, because I want the daisies to show. And then I will eyeball. So I don't want it too close to this seam, because this seam is going to go in there. So I need it to be a little bit past that. So that looks like it's about a good spot. And I will poke that one in there. Grab my little fastener. Put my fastener in. Oh, these are hard to see even with my reader cheater glasses on. Okay, and then I will poke the other way. I'm just eyeballing this. And oops, where did it go? Here it is. There we go. So my son isn't in here today. He has gone back up to his room because yesterday he finished building a computer. It is so beyond my abilities and my conceptualization to build a computer. He decided he wanted a faster, better computer so he could play some games. So he researched it. He went online and ordered the components and built a computer. It just is beyond me. It's so bizarre. Like, I'm so glad that my children are so much smarter than I am, but it's still mind-blowing to me. Okay, I'm just going to find some washi tape to put behind to cover those up so that it doesn't catch. So this is just generic Michaels Impulse section. Again, Impulse section. You can find some really good deals. So when I go to Michaels, I have a route. So I go to the, you know, the paper section, of course. And then I go over around to like the ribbons and the floral section. And then I go to the clearance. And then I meander by the beads. And that brings me to the Impulse section. You know, they have bins of things for $1 or $2. And I get those, I can usually find really good deals there. And then that brings you to the checkout. But I haven't obviously done that in a while because I am not going anywhere. All right. So that's that. And then I'm going to slide that in there, and probably afterwards I will sew a straight stitch line there and a straight stitch line at the bottom. I think I will round these corners. Where did my corner rounder? Here it is. This is my We Are Memory Keepers corner chopper. Love this thing. Very reliable. All right, and I'm just gonna put a little glue in there to tack it down until I can sew it. Just like that. And on the back. Okay, so that is the pocket, and then we need to make a cute little journal to go in the pocket. I mean, this is really super basic and easy, you guys. It's nothing ground shattering. It's just fun and cute. So then that will slide right like that. How cute is that going to be? And then, okay, so let's get the journal going. I love that Stamperia paper. That Stamperia paper is so pretty. I don't have any of that in front of me at the moment, so let's see. This is also a really pretty piece of paper. I'll use that one. This is, I can't remember. I've ordered this pack a couple of times because it is very botanical and very pretty. It says here on this edge, Earth, Laughs and Flowers, Emerson. So let's try and keep that. There's some other cute little quotes, but I'm going to try and keep that Earth, Laughs and Flowers to be my edge. So I need this to be, I know I need it to be 7.5 high. So let's start with 7.5 high. Yeah, my desk is so tight right now. There's too much stuff here. Let me just tidy a smidge here so I can fit my cutter. Oh dear. My tools. Oh, I'm so bad. I can't wait to have a bigger desk. This summer is going to be the summer of the bigger desk. Okay. 7.5 high, and I want to make sure I include this. So 7.5 is right there. And that will, So I'm actually going to go to 8, and then I'm going to take a half, I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off the bottom here. Or maybe I'm just going to cut this down because I really want this to show, and I need to leave room up here at the top for a tab. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that off. Don't fret, I will use that for something. And then now, from here, I'll do 7.5. And that will work out perfectly. You see, this is what I was trying to do. I wanted to make sure I got that quote and left a little room at the top for a tab. So then this needs to be, so the pocket is 8 3/4. So this, I think I didn't write it down. I'm going to make this 8 because here's the pocket. Where's my ruler? So yeah, so if I make it 4 inches wide, and actually, you know what? This should probably be 7 high. Because I forgot about the, this should probably be 7 high. Okay, so let's go to 7. And I'm just going to snip off a bit there at the top so that it slides in. That's what I'm trying to do. And what did I say? 8? I said 8. Okay. That was a little inelegant, I know, but hey. Okay, so it's just a little journal. There we go. To slide into that pocket. And that will slide in right there, and it should work just fine even with the stitching. I can always trim it down a smidge if I need to. Okay, so I need a tab. And I have, this is an offcut that I made the tab for the other one on, and I think I'll use this again. So what I do for my tabs, I don't have one of those fancy whale tails punch, and I'm not willing to spend a fortune on one. So what I do is this is a 2-inch recollection, hole punch, circle punch. I'm just going to find a spot that I like. I like that pattern there with the flowers. I'm going to try and get some of those flowers in there. And I took circle punch that bit, and then I fold it in half. And then I take my Fiskars, and there's no size indicator on this. Like, I don't know how big it is, but I think it's like a 1 inch. Don't you think? I think it's like a 1 inch. Oh, you know what? Can I measure it? Is it? Yeah, that looks, see? Like a 1 inch diameter circle punch. And if you notice in the center there's a little dot. And all I do is I line up the corner of my half circle with that dot so that the corner of the paper looks like it takes up about a quadrant of that circle. And I do the same thing on the other side. And I get a cute little tab. And so I'm just going to glue this on, and then I will punch a hole and put in a grommet so that I can put some sari silk on. And what that does is it really does help you grab the booklet. Really does help you grab the booklet when you're trying to pull it out of the pocket. So both the kids are upstairs in their rooms on their respective computers. Although it's cute, my son was saying last night that he wants to move his new big computer down here because he was lonely upstairs, which made me feel good. He does still like me. Okay. So there's that, and I'm going to put a tab in there. I'm sorry, an eyelet. So I do have the teeny tiny eyelets, but the teeny tiny eyelets are good if you want to hang a charm. They won't fit a sari silk. It's too hard to try and squish sari silk through there. So I think these will be okay with the bright ones. I use the bright brassy ones the least, so it's good when I find opportunities where I feel like they will go okay. So I have my Crop-A-Dile 2 Big Bite, and I'm gonna punch a hole right there. And then I'll squish it. This is another awesome, awesome tool. Love this tool. I use it constantly. So I have this on B. I also have such a hard time seeing when I have the bottom one on. The bottom one is kind of eaten up. Oh, it's one. B1. So I'm just going to squish that down. And then I always take my little needle nose and give it an extra squish, because even though that worked perfectly and these curled around, they're kind of proud. They're kind of sticky uppy. So I just take those and squish them down flat. Okay. And I have some nice, I love this color green. I don't even know what color green you would call it, but this sari silk is such a good color. It's like the color of the, well, I think I cut that too short. It's like the color, you know, in spring, it's going to happen any day now when all the trees finally burst into bud and there's like a green haze on the tips of all the branches. That's what this makes me think of. Love that color. All right, that's a little stubby. All right. Yeah, that's a fail. I can use that on something, I'm sure, though. All right, let's go a little longer. Okay, so here we go, through the loop. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we just need to sew in some pages. So here we go. I have a little folder full of some tea dye, and I've tea dyed quite a bit of parchment paper and cardstock. Not as much copy paper. I feel like I'm going to have to do more copy paper. Okay, so this, I believe I can just, yes. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to cut it about there. It will be a little bit, each one is so funny. Each one's been slightly different. Just going to cut this in half. I'm doing it on my lap, guys. I know you can't see it. I apologize. I'm just going to eyeball half like that. So I hope everybody out there is doing well. I'm already thinking about what I'm going to do next. I think I'm going to try needle felting a cover and doing like a real woodsy, woodlandy, Tolkien-y inspired journal, because my son and I, yeah, so those are going to be too wide. So I just need to cut these down a smidge. Because my son and I kind of watched, we're almost done. We have one more. We've got the last Lord of the Rings movie to rewatch. Just take a ½ inch off. Love, love, love those books. Love, love, love those movies. Just my favorite. I really do. Adore those stories. And we agree. We think that the Lord of the Rings were better than The Hobbit. Love The Hobbit, but Lord of the Rings are better. Nonetheless, I love Radagast. See, I just giggle thinking about him. He's so wonderful, and I love his hairs, his sled team of his hairs. And there's a scene where he goes to confront the Witch of Angmar, and he's running away, and one of the bunnies sounds the alarm with the foot. Yeah, love that. I'm also a Doctor Who fan, and he's one of the original sets of doctors. So I'm going to do a Radagast journal next, I think. But I'm also really tempted. I watched Rachel at Roxy Creations do this really cool slow stitch snippet thing. Very tempted to try that as well. So I'm going to sew these in. They're still a little bit wide, especially those inner ones, which are a little more sticky outy. So all I'm going to do is cut this down just a smidge here along the edge. Oops. There we go. I always do that at the end. Okay, so that will fit nicely now. I'm also, because they're not taking up the entire space, I'm going to stagger them a smidge. I rather like the wonky look. Yep, just like that. And now I'm going to sew it in. So I have some waxed thread and an awl and some needles. And I'm just tying these off. I'm not putting any charms or anything on them because they're going into that pocket. So, well, I found that when I do 3 this way, it's too much. So I'm going to 2.5, and that should be enough, but not wasteful. And all the thread and the needles I got from a book binding kit off Amazon. And it came with several colors of the thread. There's green. The green is actually my favorite color. I love this green, but I'm kind of forcing myself to expand my horizons here and use some of my other materials, because I don't want to be buying things a whole lot right now. Although I did just buy that needle felting stuff. Shh. Okay, I'm going to poke my holes. And I'm not, I know a lot of people, sometimes when I'm doing big journals, or if I'm doing multiple signatures, I make a template and I, use the whole clippy thing. But just for these little pamphlet-y journals that go into a larger thing, I just eyeball it for the pamphlet stitch. And then I go back into the center one. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put my needle back in my container. Of course, I've lost the container. What did I do with my container? Oh, Lordy May. What did I do? Here it is. Just stick that back in there so I don't lose the needles. All right, so the thing is, I can already tell I think I've split this one. So what you can do is you just kind of pull it through. So you can see how I've gone through one through the other. So if you just pull it out a little bit more and adjust it, you can undo that. And then I even it up again. And you want this string to go in between your tails. Just gonna even that up a little bit more. Try and get the tails somewhat even. And on the first one I did, I usually like haul on those little strings, but I squished it's not very big, so you need it to be taut without wrinkling it and pulling the whole thing together. So I'm just going to tie a double knot here and then a little bow. Lost it. There we go. Oh, no, I didn't. It's so funny, the muscle memory. I know if you go behind the bow, you wind up with your tails going out the proper way, but my fingers just don't want to do that. Okay, so there is a cute little booklet to go into our cute little pocket, which I will sew. All right, I'm going to bring this over to the sewing machine. If you want to hang out and see the finished product all put together, give me just 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Otherwise, I will catch you guys later if you don't want to watch that. Because my sewing machine is way over here. I'm just going to do a really quick straight stitch. Be right back. There's the top, and here's the bottom. Coming right back. I'll be right back. Oh, see, rushing isn't good. All right, I got it. I got it. All right, that's it. That is done. And I did do the back and forth thing on those. I'm just going to cut off these strings. See, and now I'll put my what is this called? Flat pan back. And I can stick my cute little journal in my cute little pocket. Just like that. There we go. Oops, see, I did it too far. It's a little bulky. I think it'll squish down once it's been in the journal for a while. And here we go. We'll find our spot. And there we go. Voila. There we go. I'm really pleased with how these are coming out. I think they're coming out really cute. I think the next thing I do is going to be some envelope pockets. All right, that is that. I hope you all enjoy your day. I hope the weather is fair where you are and that you are being healthy and safe and enjoying your time at home to create. Have a good day.